This is arguably Son Hye-kyo's most controversial film yet. The moment it hit theaters, it left countless women emotionally wrecked, and for good reason. To fully embody her role, she shattered her long-held image. Even learning to smoke on screen for the first time, it almost destroyed the nation's goddess persona that fans had cherished for years. And yet, despite the backlash, her 2025 cinematic comeback is nothing short of eye-catching. Now, let's dive into the film that marks Son Hye-kyo's first return to the big screen in 11 years and why it's stirring up so much buzz. The story kicks off with an intense opener. In an abandoned warehouse in Seoul, a priest is performing an exorcism on a boy named Hye-jun, but he clearly underestimates the demon's power. With the ritual going nowhere, Junia storms into the scene, holy water bucket in hand. Without hesitation, she twists off the cap and drenches Hye-jun, seizing the moment as the demon howls in agony. Junia signals her assistant to ring the exorcism bell while she begins chanting the sacred verses. In one seamless combo move, Hye-jun begins to lose consciousness. They think it's over until the demon starts mouthing off again.
죽는다. 인간 중에 가장 끔찍하게 죽을 것이다. 불에 타고 동이 차오르며 네 신을 저주하며 죽어갈 것이다.
Junia doesn't flinch. Without missing a beat, she grabs a black goat's hoof and shoves it straight into Hye-jun's mouth. The demon finally falls silent, but everyone knows it's not gone, just hiding, waiting to strike again. To prepare thoroughly while Hye-jun recovers at the church hospital, Junia wastes no time tracking down Father Andrea. From him, she learns that this demon is eerily similar to one that possessed a girl a decade ago, an exorcism so brutal it nearly cost 2 elite dark priests their lives. Which means if Junia hopes to cast it out for good, she can't do it alone. Out of options, she begins her search for help. But what Junia didn't expect was that the Vatican enforces strict oversight on exorcisms. Every ritual requires formal approval, and right now, there simply aren't enough qualified personnel. Father Andrea's explanation was airtight. Still, Junia knew the real reason all too well. Being a nun, her standing in the church wasn't exactly high. Realizing she wouldn't be getting any support, Junia had no choice but to leave, disappointed but not surprised. Meanwhile, Hye-jun's mother turned to Father Paolo, pleading with him to help save her son through exorcism. To her shock, Paolo confessed he was a staunch atheist. He didn't believe Hye-jun was possessed. In his view, the boy was suffering from trauma-induced psychosis and would recover with therapy and medication. After learning Junia had already performed an exorcism attempt, Paolo summoned her for a stern talk. He flatly dismissed the idea of possession, blaming Hye-jun's condition on childhood bullying and social isolation. He urged Junia to stop meddling in what he considered a purely psychological issue. But Junia wasn't about to back down. She was different, and she knew it. Just as their debate heated up, Sister Michaela burst into the room in a panic. She had shocking news. Hye-jun's mother had just jumped to her death. Moments earlier, while Junia and Paolo were arguing, the mother had received a mysterious phone call. Whatever she heard, it clearly triggered something. At that very moment, Hye-jun's body reacted violently. Meanwhile, his mother stood eerily still, staring blankly out the window as if possessed. She picked up a pair of chopsticks from her food tray. And then, just like that, she was gone. Despite the horror, Paolo remained in denial, chalking it up to stress and emotional overload. But when everyone else left the scene, Junia heard something, faint whispers only she could detect. Having been different since birth, Junia could clearly hear the demon's murmurs. She murmured to herself, then turned and caught a glimpse of Michaela, who seemed different, too. To test her theory, Junia invited Michaela to attend the mother's funeral that very night. After breaking the ice, Junia came clean. Though born with a hearing disorder, she could hear demons' whispers with perfect clarity, and as she suspected, Michaela could too. As a child, Michaela had been placed in a convent by her parents. Over time, she began to realize that both she and her best friend were sent there because they had the second sight, the rare ability to see spirits. But her friend wasn't as lucky. People claimed she was a cursed child, the product of a union between a human and a demon. Even before entering the convent, she was shunned and ridiculed. The mental strain and relentless pressure eventually broke her. One day, she ended her own life. What haunted Michaela most was that, unlike her, everyone else believed her friend had been possessed by a demon, that it wasn't suicide, but an exorcism gone wrong. Fear took root in Michaela's heart. Since then, She developed a compulsive habit of binge eating, desperately trying to silence the dread inside. But fate had no mercy. Her superstitious parents soon began to suspect Michaela might also be cursed. They brought in shamans who performed ritual after ritual to cleanse her. Though Michaela often ran away from home, she could never escape the visions her friend's lifeless body hanging before her, haunting her every step. Worse still, as she got older, the number of demons she could see only increased. Her gift became a relentless torment. After hearing Michaela's painful past, Junia gently offered her help to break free from this curse. But there was a condition: Michaela had to help her. She had to bring Hye-jun out and agree to perform the exorcism together. If she refused, Junia warned, there would be no saving him. Michaela didn't give an answer right away. Still, Junia quietly placed the case file in front of her. That night, as Michaela wrestled with uncertainty, a sudden nightmare jolted her awake. Remembering Junia's words, she finally gave in. The next morning, Michaela successfully snuck Hye-jun out. To avoid raising alarms within the church, Junia sought help from a shaman friend. After learning Hye-jun's backstory, the shaman quickly identified the source of the possession. Hye-jun's mother had been under demonic influence when she forced his birth into the world. Even if the exorcism succeeded, the shaman warned, the curse might continue to haunt the family. Despite the dire warning, Junia was resolute she wouldn't let Hye-jun die. Seeing her determination, the shaman wasted no time preparing for the ritual. Hye-jun was led slowly into the seawater. As several black roosters and sacred tools were thrown into the waves, the exorcism officially began.
나의 주님, 나의 하느님.
성은 내 백성이 아니시리.
Under a chorus of chants and pounding drums, the demon began to writhe in agony.
이 멍청한 수녀 개지마! 감히 우리를 내쫓을 수 있을 것 같으냐!
But when Hye-jun collapsed once again, Junia rushed him to the hospital. Both she and Michaela knew it was only a matter of time before the demon returned. What they didn't know was that time had already run out. Before they could regroup, Hye-jun's condition took a sharp turn for the worse. Panicked, Michaela revealed that Father Paolo, still skeptical about the possession, had taken Hye-jun to the monastery for treatment, determined to prove it was all psychological. Michaela feared that this could lead to disaster, and her fears were quickly confirmed. A thick, unnatural fog now blanketed the monastery grounds. Animal corpses littered the area. The moment Junia and Michaela arrived, they knew something was horribly wrong. From Paolo's terrified expression, it was clear he'd seen something that shattered his beliefs. He'd barricaded the entrance, trembling. Whatever happened inside, it wasn't human, though stepping in could mean certain death. Junia pushed the doors open without hesitation. When the demon saw the two women return, it sneered wickedly and began taunting them, then revealed the dark, hidden truths of all three of their pasts. As Paolo stood frozen in disbelief, his hands suddenly rose against his will and began choking him. Watching him suffocate, Junia rushed to use holy water again, hoping to force the demon to stop. But then, the demon shifted its gaze to a nearby statue and let out an evil smile that sent chills down their spines. Realizing Hye-jun was in danger, Junia didn't hesitate. She lunged forward and tackled him to the ground. But that was exactly what the demon wanted. As Junia was caught off guard, the demon struck, grabbing her by the throat. At the last possible second, Hye-jun suddenly regained consciousness. Disoriented and overwhelmed, he instinctively tried to take his own life. Thankfully, Junia stopped him just in time. Seeing the deep grief in Hye-jun's eyes, Junia made a solemn vow: no matter what it took, she would drive the demon out of him for good. After that near-death ordeal, Paolo finally relented. Thanks to his connections, the Vatican agreed to offer some assistance, but due to a shortage of personnel, they could only send sacred relics, not exorcists. That left Junia with only one real hope: the shaman. But after witnessing the demon's true power, the shaman refused, claiming she was too busy. Still, out of respect for Junia, she did calculate the most auspicious day for the ritual. Her parting words were clear: succeed or die trying. The exorcism day came fast. To increase their chances, Junia and Michaela brought Hye-jun to a storage warehouse owned by Michaela's family. Before the demon could fully awaken, they tightly bound Hye-jun's arms and legs to a bed. But in the very next second, Seeing Hee-jun suddenly react, Junia gently placed a cotton ball on his forehead. To her horror, it instantly turned to ash, clear proof the demon was stirring. To prevent its escape, Junia quickly scattered salt in a protective circle around them. After confirming Hee-jun's vital signs, Paolo handed Junia a consecrated relic and offered a heartfelt prayer for both of them. As Paolo left, the final exorcism began. With Michaela chanting her prayers, Junia angled a mirror toward Hee-jun. He began coughing, claiming he felt much better and begged Junia to untie him.
답답해요. 이거 좀 풀어주세요. 감성의 수녀님.
내가 언제 가르쳐줬니? 내 이름을?
시발년.
But Michaela intensified her holy incantations, determined to shake the demon loose. The evil presence grew restless. Junia pressed a crucifix firmly to Hee-jun's chest. The demon instantly thrashed in pain and rage.
전압기 다시 올리고 촛불 다시 켜. 그냥 꺼.
Realizing the demon was unleashing its full power, Junia dove into the core of the ritual. As her chants echoed and the crucifix glowed, the entire room began to shake. To avoid being disrupted, Junia emptied a full bucket of holy water onto the demon without hesitation. With that crushing blow, the demon stopped hiding. It snarled, warning Junia to back off or suffer a fate worse than death. But Junia didn't flinch. She knew exactly what she was dealing with. If she could just learn its name, she could banish it straight back to hell. But no matter how she pushed, the demon refused to speak. Running out of options, Junia turned up the pressure.
넌 요사스럽기만 한 잡귀야. 그것도 저급한 짐승이에요!
When that didn't work either, she played her final card. She and Michaela opened the Bible only to find its contents had been completely defaced by the demon. Just as all hope seemed lost, a drumbeat rang out from outside the window, and with a chance of exorcism filled the air. Turns out, when Junia had gone to the shaman for help, she'd been refused, at least on the surface. In truth, the shaman had quietly recommended her apprentice, Ae-dong. At first, Ae-dong had no intention of getting involved, but while tending to Hee-jun, he caught the boy trying to end his own life. That broke something in him. Moved by compassion, Ae-dong chose to help even knowing it could cost him everything. Seeing their reinforcements arrive, Junia grabbed a fire extinguisher and hurled it toward the window, amplifying Ae-dong's power from outside. To break the demon's will completely, Michaela poured holy water over Hee-jun. Under the triple assault holy chants, relics, and unrelenting pressure, the demon finally gave in and revealed its name.
이름을 말해봐. 말해서 나를 두려움에 떨게 만들어봐.
With the name at last, Junia began chanting the sealing incantation.
성자와 성령의 이름으로 명하노니 감리기 거기서 나와!
As the demon manifested fully, Junia slipped into a strange dreamlike trance. Michaela's desperate shouts finally pulled her back to reality. Hee-jun was safe back to normal at last, but the demon hadn't vanished. Its immense power triggered a boiler room explosion, and rats began swarming up from the sewers. Realizing the warehouse was about to blow, Ae-dong grabbed Hee-jun and carried him out. Just when Michaela thought they were finally safe, Junia dropped a bombshell. Hee-jun had to be taken to the nearest church immediately. There, they needed to ring the grand bell 3 times without delay. Junia had seen it in her dream. She was now the demon's new prison. To protect Hee-jun, she had to draw it far, far away. She confessed something else. Too, she'd recently been diagnosed with terminal cancer. She was going to die either way, so she made her choice: take the demon with her and end it once and for all. Michaela couldn't bear the thought, but Junia's mind was set, and the battle wasn't over yet. The street outside was clogged with rats, making escape nearly impossible. Ae-dong raced against time, dodging chaos. Even after being knocked down in the rush, they made it just barely. Michaela scrambled to the bell tower and rang the bell 3 times with all her strength. As the final chime echoed, Junia stepped into the inferno without hesitation. The demon within her roared, but Junia stayed calm, her will unshakable. With the flames engulfing everything, the exorcism reached its tragic conclusion. But the story didn't end there. Sometime later, a man visited Junia's grave, laying a single bouquet of flowers. It was the dark priest from a decade ago, and when Michaela met his gaze, she understood her destiny in that instant, to carry on Junia's mission, so her sacrifice would not be in vain.